All right, guys, we are live. This is the UFC Vegas 79 live recap show on the Sherdog.com. I am your host. My name is Keith Shillan. Unfortunately, my normal co-host, Ben Duffy, can't be here, so I found the guy who could do the best Cody Brundage impression in the business. Of course, he is Devin Tejada, better known as Dev Goes Fishing. Dev, what's up, my man?
If I'm Cody Brundage, I should just leave, right? Like my head hurts. I got to go home. I actually got to go to the hospital.
Shout out to all the guys in the chat. If you're listening live and you're not in the chat, shame on you. It's a really fun time. Everyone's always super respectful. And we try to get to as many comments as possible. We have 11 fights to go over. I'm absolutely pumped. It's 9:38. My kids are still awake right now as I'm doing a recap. I'm going to go to bed at a normal time. This is a fantastic. Let's get right into it. The main event's going to be really short because obviously it did not. I thought it was on its way to being an epic fight. What happened was Mateusz Gamrot beat Rafael Fiziev by second round TKO. More of a injury than anything. Fiziev did his best Nick Chubb impression and turned his knee the wrong way and immediately fell down. I loved every minute of this fight until the finish.
The way this card started, the prelims of this card were just, I'll say not good to be nice about it. And then we started firing with the battle fight. And then the main event was here. And I was like, man, this is first round. This fight's looking good. And then all of a sudden, Fiziev blows up probably one of his CLs of some sort. And now we're here at 6:39 p.m. on my side of the country. You're muted, Keith.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I accidentally muted myself. I just want to remind you that the West Coast doesn't matter. So
the third world part of the country.
Yeah, we don't care about that. So the one thing that stood out to me right away about this fight, and again, like I said, there's not going to be a lot to talk about. The first thing that stood out to me is the size difference. I knew there was going to be a size difference. I knew Gamrot was going to be bigger. He's a longer, lengthier type lightweight anyways, and we've always talked about Fiziev being a smaller. He looks more like a featherweight and even like a shorter featherweight, like a Alex Volkanovski type featherweight than a lightweight. That's one thing that really stood out to me. Ending the first round, I scored the first round for Fiziev, but I was feeling really good about my Gamrot pick. Because like the people talking about him stuffing takedowns, I'm like, not really. Like he got him in a position on two different times, even at the end. You know, did he have the control at the very end? No, but for one more second, he would have had control. I was feeling really good because I'm saying, wow, Gamrot is going to be able to get him down. And then obviously in the second round, he was able to. Did you agree or disagree on that? Were you feeling like the momentum? Even though, first of all, did you? I mean, I'm assuming you scored the first round for Fiziev.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I did score the first round for Fiziev. When I handicapped this fight, I figured Fiziev. I picked Fiziev just because he's a much more damaging type of fighter. But even though Gamrot didn't get tons of grappling success going, if he's getting those types of entries and he's able to get to the single leg on a fresh Fiziev and he's not getting detonated in the first round, I mean, what's going to happen when the fourth round comes around? Like those takedowns were going to probably come a little bit easier for Gamrot. But he was also, anytime Gamrot got a little bit idle in the pocket, Fiziev did, his similar body over the top combo that he knocked out Moicano with. The first round was really, really close, but Gamrot was getting his single leg entries going. And if he's doing that early to Fiziev, you could kind of almost assume that, he's probably going to have more success with that later the fight went.
Yeah, I actually thought they both were impressive in the first round. The one thing I liked about what Fiziev was doing was he was throwing combos, but if you saw, and he was making them pay when he got into that mid range, but he wasn't really loading up. Like he throws powerful because he's so fast.
Sure.
But he wasn't throwing those Miles Johns big looping punches. They were inside, they were tight. I love that he was going to the body. So kind of like, as Ben always says, like show your entrance fee. Like you're coming in, this is what you got to go through. So I like that. Gamrot, I like that, get into the single and stuff. What I really would have liked was So this this is double A takedown. I'm absolutely obsessed with. The Gamrot, he was in a position to do it all the time. When he went to single. If you come all the way across the other side, it's called the Amato double. Lee Kemp it actually was pretty famous with it too. You come all the way across and you kind of peek. You do a peek out at the end. And I know when I get real technical with MMA talk, people wrestling talk, they don't get. Some people get excited, but not too many people get excited. But that, and he's another thing. Do you know what a Weston hook is?
No, but you're going to tell me.
Okay, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's a position in the second round when Fiziev, and anyone who's wrestled knows what a Weston hook is. Fiziev was on all fours, kind of like your regular traditional, what they call referee's position. And
Sure.
Gamrot was like riding him from behind. And he was kind of struggling, and not struggling. He was controlling it, but I'm like, man, dude, if he just knew a Westing, because he's a good wrestler, but he's not a traditional,
Sure.
NCAA folk style wrestler. Especially because even freestyle, you're not going to put in Weston hooks and stuff because it's kind of irrelevant in freestyle. It's not irrelevant, but it's not as common, I should say. If he just put a Weston hook in, he would have controlled the escapes of Fiziev much better. Fiziev wouldn't have been able to get up to his feet. Now, before somebody asks me, they go say, "Oh, if you put in a Weston hook, they can roll underneath for a knee bar." Yeah, that's true. But in two situations, one, you have to tripod up first to kind of roll underneath. So he wasn't in a tripod position. Also, he rolling for knee bars really doesn't work in it. So jiu-jitsu, that's different. That's different.
Fiziev isn't rolling for a knee bar on anyone.
So then obviously he gets, so I was feeling good about the Gamrot pick. I like the way he was working, making even Fiziev on his way up, making him work for every inch, making him really drain his edge. I thought, because I've seen Fiziev going, go back to like the not Taporia, what's the guy's name there that he had incredible fight with? Sarukian, Armin Sarukian fight, right? When they fought each other.
Gamrot and Sarukian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen him be able to grapple 25 minutes hard.
Sure.
Even like a Jalen Turner fight, you see him grappling hard for 20. Like, I think he could have been able to sustain that. I don't know if Fiziev would have been able to, because even though Fiziev was getting out, he was working him every second.
And my idea was, I was watching this fight, and Gamrot was really, really hunting that takedown at the end of the first round, and I was like, that's not going to steal you this round. But I think maybe he was going for something more to just really take the wind out of Fiziev's sails. He knows, like, if I just make this dude work, regardless if it wins me this round or not, it's going to be attrition. And it's really weird for someone as small as Fiziev for this division. He's still I just don't trust his cardio still to this day.
Yeah, it's we saw him fade a little bit against Justin Gaethje. I mean, obviously a much different type fighter, and I mean, he didn't completely guess. It was an incredible fight, but
against Bobby Green, he did though. I watched the Bobby Green fight last night.
Yeah. Again, another different fight. I want to make a shout out real quick. Shout out to my boy Marcel Duff. I want to mention you later, Marcel Duff, when we get to the next fight. But shout out to Big Marcel. If you don't follow Marcel on Twitter, then you're not an MMA fan. I mean, seriously, if you don't have Twitter, just start a Twitter account just to follow. Be your only follow Marcel. So Gamrot, I lost track where we were talking about, but Gamrot, he. Oh yeah, you talked about the takedown late. Yeah, it's. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, good job, John Butterfield. Not Twitter, X now. I'm sorry. Nice job, John. Yeah, I agree. Like the takedown there at the end was not going to win him the round. But what I do think was going to happen, Gamrot was landing more on his feet than I expected. Not that I've always said he was an underrated striker, but also I think just that takedowns end reminds you of the takedowns.
Sure.
So now Fiziev's looking for that. There was one time, I don't know if you caught it, right in the beginning of the second round, Gamrot landed one of his best punches. I can't remember what it was. It was a straight shot. I don't remember. I think it would have been a straight left, but I don't really remember. But he got into the pocket. He got in that shooting range, and Fiziev's hands dropped down to his waist to stuff a takedown. They're kind of trying to catch double underhooks when he shoots in, and he got blasted with a straight right because he, in the back of his mind, he's worried about the takedown. And then later on, next time he does that, he's going to think about the punch, and now Gamrot's coming underneath him. So it was a really fun fight. I think we were on our way to having a great fight. It'd be one of those ones that every round is close. Heading in the 5th round, we might be debating who's winning, kind of thing. I just feel like we got ripped off. I mean, I know it happens with any main event injuries. I just felt like this was going to be a fantastic one. It was one of the ones, the casual fan is not going to be super excited based on these guys' names. Two non-Americans with weird last names and everything. It's not going to get the buzz. Then like Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett just got announced. We're just going to get more buzz. But the technical skills that we were going to see tonight, I'm just really disappointed.
Yeah, both of these dudes are super good. Like, and it's tough. It's tough because this was their moment to shine. I don't know if these guys are going to be on another main event, even though this was, stuck in Vegas, typical, whatever. But how long until these guys fight in another main event again? How long until Fiziev even fights again? Who knows what happened to his knee? Looks like he tore, ACL, MCL, PCL. Who knows? Could be all of it. And
yeah, I'm hoping it's something like a meniscus, something small.
Sure.
But unfortunately, obviously I'm not a doctor or anything like that, and hopefully it was something hyperextended, something that's not as bad, but this is the price when we see it in high level athletes all the time, and especially in the NFL. I mean, I know you're not a football fan, but
Aaron Rodgers, man.
But his was an Achilles. But yeah, Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb. I mentioned Nick Chubb earlier. You didn't get that reference because no, should you? But he's like one of the best running backs in football. He tore his ACL this past week. His knee was a guy tackled and his knee just went the wrong way. Tore a bunch of stuff in there. Let's put Fiziev on the sidelines. Kind of like I feel the same way like when we had Tom Aspinall and we were breaking down when who knows how long he's gonna be out. It's not fair. We don't know how long he's gonna be out, so it's kind of hard to match him up against certain people because this guy's gonna be out. This I mean the only lightweight that would make sense to match him up with it might be Gregor Gillespie because he'll probably be out for another year for no reason anyways. Let's do Gamrot. So he called out Charles Oliveira. Which he kind of, I don't know if Fiziev does like bets because he kind of showed his hand who he's picking to win. We're not gonna have Fiziev on the next pay-per-view breakdown making predictions because he already gave that he thinks Islam Makhachev's going to beat Charles Oliveira because he said, "Oh, I'm not ready. My dream match is to fight the champion, but I understand I don't deserve the title shot yet. So give me Charles Oliveira." It's like,
you mean Gamrot? Sorry, you said Fiziev. I was confused.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gamrot. I apologize. He called for Charles Oliveira, just assuming that he's gonna lose to Islam Makhachev, which I assume most people are. I'll say this. I'll double down on that. When you break down, I mean, it's pretty safe to say that Justin Gaethje's getting the winner. Like, even if Makhachev loses,
sure,
he doesn't have that long run where you get an automatic rematch or anything like that. I feel Justin Gaethje is probably next in line. So I don't mind just saying the loser of that matchup. Give me imagine, and we'll just say because he called Oliveira. Just let's use Oliveira for a second. Oliveira versus Gamrot. Put it on, I don't know, fight night main event or even like third from the top of a pay-per-view. Like sign me up. Like that sounds fantastic.
That could be the co-main event on anything. Like main event, co-main. That could be Gamrot versus Oliveira. Like easy co-main event on a pay-per-view next year. Gamrot's always been a dude that's super confusing for me just in the UFC looking at his fights because he's got a way to have these like super close fights with people where like I thought he lost to Arman Tsarukyan and I also thought he lost to Jalen Turner, but he's still winning regardless of what I think. Like the dude's still winning fights, so he continues to deserve to be matched up. Coming off of a win, his celebration was a little bit strange, but I get it. You train all, regardless of the outcome.
I want to talk. I wrote that down in my notes too. Like I hate those celebrations, but then I'm like, it's so natural because one, they just doubled their pay, so that alone is something to celebrate. So like
training camps suck. Weight cuts suck even worse. Like you win a fight, regardless, you're going to be happy. Like I get it.
I more take it when it goes further on, when they get to their post-fight interview and see what they're saying then. And he said all the right things. This is not how I want to win. I want to get a stoppage the right way. Like he said all the right things. He said, he said something like, I like him. I pray he gets better. And I mean, I'm assuming like Bryce Mitchell right now is like pouring holy water on his knee right now and dance around with snakes in his hands or some shit.
He's drinking it.
Yeah, he just sucking it out, sucking the sin out of his knee right now.
Bryce is in the back rubbing holy water on Fiziev's knee. Like get the doctor out of here.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I mean, let's do this. So I do the prediction show. So I'm going to hold off on this. And I know it's not fair. I know it's not fair to make someone make a prediction without tape study. So I just want people ask me, I say, well, my non-tape study, if Oliveira loses, and again, I understand you don't know what Oliveira looks like in the second match. Does he look toast? Does he look good? I know it's not fair, so I get it.
Sure.
But all right, let's do this. Islam Makhachev, something happens. Gamrot weighs in as a backup. And something has him. Islam misses weight. Gamrot's thrown in against Charles Oliveira. On the spot right now, who are you picking to win? If
it's Islam or Gamrot?
No. Gamrot versus Oliveira. Because that's the one he called out. Because I saw somebody in the chat, and I apologize. Someone said,
man, if Gamrot could...
Kyle Law, he said Oliveira subs him in 3 match, which is obviously a possibility.
Yeah. The thing about Gamrot is he has a really great takedown and scramble game, but he's not a controlling grappler, and that might be something that's going to be a problem for him against someone like Oliveira, or even like everyone says Justin Gaethje's takedown defense is crap and stuff like that, but like Gamrot's not a control grappler, and I feel like that's always going to be something that holds him back. But him and Oliveira, Oliveira is also a willing guard player, and like he is down to be taken down.
But
I'd probably pick Oliveira to finish him, honestly.
Yeah, I have to do tape study of that, but geez, do I want to see that fight right now? I want to see it so bad.
I want to see Gamrot fight Michael Chandler. Chandler's not fighting Conor McGregor. I want to see Gamrot fight. I want to see him fight Michael Chandler.
I feel bad for Chandler because he's at the age where he really can't afford to sit on the sidelines, unfortunately. But he's also at the age where how can he gamble away a chance at Conor? I mean, that's the big fight. That's the one that changes your life. Fighting Gamrot doesn't. But on the same sense, if Conor doesn't come back, or if he comes back and he changes his mind, and he fights who knows? There's always you can never trust. He's in this tough, like he's got the lottery ticket, but someone's offering to buy it from him. So you can't wait forever. Hopefully, I mean, there was rumors that maybe January it's going to happen. I mean, there was rumors December. Now they're saying January. Someone's asking what Josh Gross is. Josh Gross does a lot of editing for Sherdog. He doesn't do the radio anymore. He does a lot of stuff for other people. So that's where Josh Gross is. Before you say TJ DeSantis, he does a bunch of stuff for the UFC. Jordan Breen, kind of out of the MMA world for a little bit. Greg Savage is with the PFL. Anybody else? All right, Dev, I'm going to do something I normally don't do. So we're going to the co-main event, Bryce Mitchell versus Dan Ige, which kind of feels like the main event now, based on what happened in the co-main event. So I scored the fight for Bryce Mitchell. You scored the fights for Dan Ige. I'm going to let you bow out now if you want to. I'm going to let you say, you know what? I'm going to have mercy. Bryce Mitchell was talking about, like, don't give the devil any ground. I'm not going to give the devil ground. I'm going to let you have a chance to say you're sorry, and then you scored it wrong, and you don't want to debate me on this right now.
No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pray for you, because I don't think Bryce Mitchell won this fight.
All right, this is what we're going to do. And everyone can throw in the chat who they thought won the fight. And then and any of you guys who scored it for Dan Ige, I'll show you how you're wrong. This is what we'll do. I'll let you make your argument first. And it's going to look like the Michelle Waterson versus Marina Rodriguez. So you're going to come out and you're going to get like a takedown. You're going to be feeling all good. And then I'm going to get up and I'm going to trash you.
I want to know your argument. I just don't.
Okay. All right. I'll go first. I mean,
tell me, please.
It's not. Well, this is what's going to happen if you let me go first. If I go first, it's like the Derek Lewis last fight. I'm going to run over and like karate drop kick you. I'm going to Jorge Masvidal Ben Askren you right away, and then you never had a chance to go. All right. Let's just put the third round. Let's just put the third round to the side. Like, there's no argument that Bryce Mitchell lost that round, correct?
No.
Okay, he clearly
mean,
wins. He clearly.
You don't want to see someone win a round like that in MMA, but that's not the argument. That's not the argument.
So at least round 1 and 2. Okay, 1 and 2. I think the only thing. I think the second round. No, I'm on side. No. I'm on
the redheaded devil.
No. You're missing that. I'm on the side of Mitchell, so I'm on the Jesus side. All right. Even though it's pretty funny that Mitchell is talking about Jesus and all this, and his opponent Dan Ige is like super openly Christian too. All right. So the second round to me I think is the only debatable round. I think Bryce Mitchell clearly wins the first round. Like I don't know how anybody's even remotely scoring that round for him. So it comes on the second. I'll even give you. I scored it the second round for Mitchell, but I'll even give you that round, even though I scored it.
I just don't see how though. Like you can get someone into full mount, but the way that the MMA scoring criteria is, it's damage.
Okay. Yeah, it is damage. What damage did Dan Ige do in the first round? Now the eye exploded was the second round.
He was already cut under the eye though.
He was already hold on. A little cut that I get when I first started learning how to shave. Like, come on, that could be one punch. Okay, you want to know who had the most total strikes landed? Total strikes landed.
The most total strikes landed
of the fight.
The judges don't see the strikes.
Hold on.
The judges don't score.
I know.
They don't see the stats.
This is just a jab. I'm gonna hit you. That would be Bryce Mitchell. All right. Who had more takedowns? Takedowns
Bryce isn't the number one scoring criteria.
I'm getting to it. Who had more submission attempts?
That's not the number one scoring criteria.
Who had more time of control? Bryce Mitchell. And who had more significant strikes?
The judges don't see the significant strike count.
So you say to me, "Oh, Keith, but we don't score it by total. We score it round by round." I say, "Yes, Deb. I'm glad you said that." That was like when I lead one way and I was slipping it because I'm setting you up, and I'm going, "Okay, who had more total strikes landed in round 1?" The answer: Bryce Mitchell. Who had more significant strikes landed in round 1? Bryce Mitchell. Who had more takedowns in round 1? Bryce Mitchell. Who had more time control? Bryce Mitchell. Who had more submission attempts? Bryce Mitchell. You're trying to tell me he landed less strikes. He was on his back for like 2 minutes of the round, got mounted, ended the round by getting ground and pounded from the mount, right? And fighting off submission attempts. But because Bryce Mitchell has a small cut that I couldn't see unless I'm in my, like if I was watching on my phone, I wouldn't be able to see. I'd have to have it blown up on a movie screen to see. You're telling me because of that, you give the round to Dan Ige?
Your very strong argument doesn't make it right though. And his left hook was firing, man. Like,
was it?
The number one scoring criteria is impact. The judges don't see the stats.
Okay.
The judges don't see the strat. They don't see any numbers. Okay. They score the fight watching it.
I'm glad you said that. He landed 10 strikes that round. 10. By average, he landed every 30 seconds, he landed a strike. You want to count 30 seconds? I'm going to put the timer back up here. And that's every one strike he landed every 30 seconds.
Bryce just didn't do anything with the ground control. He got right into full mount. It was beautiful.
He outscored him with his striking. Even if he didn't take him down, even if he didn't go for submission, he outstruck him in the first round.
So do you score the body kick over him getting cracked with a big left hook, having to reset?
Did he get cracked?
Of course he did.
Did he? Really?
I'm putting up people's comments on here, and you're passionate, but I just don't think you're right.
I could also throw all the other people who's commented my way. Okay, you want to talk?
There's none.
So hold on. So you're saying go by people's opinions? Okay, good. Let's go by people's opinions. Okay. Let's go by people's opinions. MMA Decisions, which is like the authority. That's the one that people go to. Second round. That was the second round. You keep showing me that was the second round. I even said.
Well, you watched the fight through this eye.
I thought he lost the second round. But even that,
he did.
I thought no. I think Ige lost the second round. But even that, I'll say you could argue the second round. So it really comes down to the first round. My guy landed more shots. He got more takedowns, more control. Okay, there's literally no category where Ige did more than Mitchell did. Not in a single category.
Impact.
Did he have an impact? Because he had a little cut. He had a small little cut. And that cut that you're showing was at the end of it as it grew. It wasn't what was at the end of the round. Okay. All right. Marcel Duff. Okay. Marcel said it was.
I think we got Nate the Train in here, guys.
Okay. All right. Let's go to MMA decisions, which is the usually what people like to quote as the authority. Last week with Shevchenko and nobody scored the 10-8 round except for Mike Bell, everything. Okay, MMA decisions. It was 13-5 for Bryce Mitchell. You know who scored? Of the 5? I'm gonna tell you why there was 5 scorers. I'll tell you why. Because 3 of them came from Sherdog's play-by-play. I'm gonna pull back the curtain. They might not like me saying this, but this is what happens. There's a little chat, and the guys submit their scores. There's a reason why I don't look at the odds. There's a reason why I don't look at the odds when I bet, when I make my picks, because I don't want to be influenced by other people's opinion. So when you're on the fence on who won that first round and a guy from Sherdog submits your score, you probably go, oh yeah, you're probably right. And you go with him. You don't want to be the Mike. You don't want to be the Mike Bell. You don't want to be the Mike Bell. You don't want to be the Mike Bell by yourself. You don't want to
just to prove that wrong.
Breaks by yourself. Hold on. Let me ask you this
just
question.
To prove that wrong.
Hold on. Let me ask you this question.
Ask me a question. I have one for you.
What was scored more on MMA decisions? Ige winning at all, or 30-27 for Mitchell? Not even 29-28, 30-27 for Mitchell.
I'm going to ask you a question as an answer. Do you believe the earth is flat?
I think that's what Bryce Mitchell was. Yes. Yes, it was flat. It was flat. I'll tell you why. Because I seen Dan Ige flat on his back for half the fight. Listen, I'm going to say something. God. Marcel Duff is my shout out. Marcel Duff is Keith hates Sherdog.
You're one shout out.
Listen, nobody.
You got two.
Keith hates Sherdog. Listen, nobody loves Sherdog as myself, but listen, Sherdog is like the Alex Volkanovski of MMA websites. They got a loss tonight. There's one loss. They got a loss tonight.
Also the best.
Okay, they're also the best. They're pound for pound best. Dave Petrie's the best. Tyler Treese is the best. Dev is the best. But not tonight. One Sherdog scorer got it right. It was me. And listen, this is the problem. And Big Marcel in the chat, hopefully he's still here, he can attest to this. I used to do a show called Between the Links when it was 4 contestants and it was on the Loudmouth MMA, not when it was 2 contestants MMA fighting. This is what I do, Dev. This is what I do. I won the championship more than anybody. And you always forget one more thing, Dev. You always forget one more thing.
The Hawaii fires are man-made?
No, this. I got that control, my man. You just got knocked out. See you later, Dev.
I do too.
Yeah. Hey, we got to change that. All right. So let's hear your terrible argument. Oh
gosh. In all seriousness, like, we could debate about this all night. It's funny. I love it. But does this fight make you think that the Topuria fight was a fluke? Because Bryce Mitchell is very hung up saying that was a fluke. And I think after tonight, I think if he were to ever fight Topuria again, it might be worse for him, because I'm not coming away after this thinking much higher on Bryce Mitchell or Dan Ige, really.
Yeah, but I feel good about Mitchell. Do I think it was a fluke? No, I mean, Ila Topuria is a stud of the studs. Like,
he's amazing.
To me, he is. I don't know if he's going to beat Alex Volkanovski, because you know how I feel about Alex Volkanovski. But
sure,
he's as big of a threat than I've ever seen. Now, again, that's Alex Volkanovski makes superstars look like bums.
Sure.
So, like, there's a chance Alex Volkanovski 50-40 some, because that's what Volkanovski does. That said, I mean, if Ila Topuria is the champion a year from now, I'm not surprised anymore. So let's get to the thing. Let's get to more a little bit. Ige made all right. So you forfeited. I won by. I mean, that was his worst. That was worse than Rodriguez versus Waterson. Okay. I mean, dude, your argument was broken quicker than Fiziev.
Bryce Mitchell's eye. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Ige made 2 big mistakes in the first round and drive me crazy as a wrestler. And listen, before anybody gets at me who's not used to this, listen, I'm a 41-year-old has been who never been, I should say, in MMA. Okay. Then Ige would whip my ass. Like, I'm not saying that. Okay. But in wrestling, he made 2 huge mistakes. It happened to him twice in the fight. The 2 times when Mitchell took him down at the very end of the first round. Well, not the very end. It was like 2 minutes left. And then again early in the second round. 2 times Mitchell had a body lock and Ige didn't clear his hips and he started turning back. You can't turn back until you clear your hips. You literally give the takedown and the throw. Yeah, that's the only thing I'll say. Talk to me about the actual fight and why you need to learn how to score.
Even when they were like in a stalemate position where Ige was about to hit an escape and Bryce had that body triangle. He was just like really trying to hunt that body triangle to take the back. Just mistakes made by Ige. I do think, I mean, I won't die on the hill because it's Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige, but I do think Ige won the first round with his boxing. I think he did the more damage in the second round. Bryce Mitchell's body kicks were really good in this fight. An underutilized weapon and kind of something that he should go to more. I also think, I know he really prides himself training out of Arkansas, but I think he's got great control on the ground, but I would love to see him incorporate some more punishment. I would love to see him go to a camp like AKA or something like that. Go train with the Dagestanis, dude. You need to learn some ground and pound. You muted, Keith.
I said he can't do that. Too much sin in California. He's got to stay in God's country. So let's talk about this for a second. So because Bryce Mitchell is a character of characters. I mean, I can't keep track of all the crazy shit he says. I mean, something about the world ending today. The world is flat. There's no gravity. I don't know.
I think it's awesome. It's hilarious.
It's weird. It's awesome to the point of concerning too. Like,
yes,
you know, it's like you actually texted me because I was thinking somebody else, but your text to me was actually perfect when you text a picture of Diego Sanchez, and I was like, yeah, it's a little bit of Diego. Like, I didn't think about that. It's just yeah, the Diego holding the cross, screaming yes or whatever.
We need to get Diego and Bryce Mitchell on a podcast.
It would have been fun. It would have been great if Bryce Mitchell had mounted Danny Ige and just held him down and said, "The power of Christ compels you."
Started hitting him with the Bible, like, oh my gosh.
All right, so listen, I want to be very, very, very extremely clear. Okay, I'm not bashing his belief in Jesus. Okay, because I'm a Christian.
No, me too.
I know because some Christians can be a little uptight. You guys all know what I'm talking about. I'm a born again Christian myself. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Bible. He just coming off a little like David Koresh type, like Bible, Jim Jones type. Yeah. That said, it's crazy. And it is right up to that edge where it's like, man, should this guy be getting punched in the head for a living?
What happens when
I watch? Like, I can't watch.
My concern for him is, okay, like, and this is, you were talking about Tony Ferguson, and do you remember when all those things came out about Tony, where his wife had called the cops and he had like taken his whole family up into the mountains in Big Bear with a raft because he was like preparing for a flood, and then he was thinking that there was like wiretaps on the walls of his home in California. Like, this is what Bryce Mitchell is trending into. Yeah, and he gets punched a lot, and he gets punched really hard.
You ever heard of Family Annihilators?
No.
Okay, so Family Annihilator, and I want to be very clear again. I'm not talking about Bryce Mitchell. I'm talking about even way worse than Bryce Mitchell. But Family Annihilators are mass murderers, or not mass murderers, but I know what you consider a mass, but
Amityville horror type
serial killers who kill their entire family,
like Amityville horror.
I never watched that movie, but I'm assuming that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually on the aspect of like the world's super evil. We can't. Basically what Jim Jones did.
Sure.
You understand when I say Jim Jones. Like, I know it's dating himself, but
cult shit.
Yeah, like if you found out tomorrow that Bryce Mitchell like went straight Chris Benoit and like murdered his whole family, like that wouldn't shock me. Now, again, I want to be very, very, very clear. I'm not accusing him of doing anything like. I mean, he was praying, so he just. I wouldn't invite him over my house.
No, Well, did he posted a video? I'm a firearm owner, and you're a police officer. You're a gun owner too. I'm a gun owner. I live in the Northwest. I carry a gun with me literally anytime I step foot out of my front door. When Bryce Mitchell posted on his social media the other day that it was some sort of semi-auto rifle. I didn't see what he got. But I just see the video of him holding this and like during his weight cut, and I'm like, and then him like it's just, yeah, I don't love the.
Yeah, no, again,
I just don't love it, man.
Yeah, I just want to be very clear. I want to be very clear what, like, for the 100th time, we are not saying Bryce Mitchell do this. I'm pretty sure this is my last day of working for Sherdog anyway now, because when I bashed the Sherdog play-by-play scoring in second. I've done like 200 of these shows. I think at this point I'm kind of overdue anyways. So I'm well on borrowed time. Let's talk about matchmaking for a second. So, gosh, okay. The only thing was that it's more uncomfortable now than trying to back off of my comments and thinking, oh man, like for at least firing me, is how uncomfortable did Dan Ige look? Like he's a good Christian guy, like probably a normal Bible, faith believing guy. He just lost, so he's upset about that. He's lost in a fight that, very few people think he won. Very few, but of those who did, you're heartbroken. And then this guy's going to grab you and talk about, come on, pray for our country. And not the whole Hawaii stuff, not the man-made part.
That was,
but that's Bryce Mitchell. But the whole like pray for Hawaii, I'm going to give them money. Like that's great. That
is awesome. Shout out to Bryce for that. He gave him $5,000. You know what it reminded me of? You ever been a little kid at a really large family gathering and your uncle or your grandma's like, Devin, go ahead and say the prayer. And you're like,
like every single day with my kids, every single day, like my 13-year-old, she can still pray pretty good. My 11-year-old's kind of quick. And my son just like, no, we finally, after like fighting with him for like 10 minutes to pray. And he finally just says like, God, thank you for our food. Amen.
Good food, good meat, good God, let's eat.
Yeah.
Poor Danny Gay, lost a robbery, got a mic shoved in his face. At least Bisping just cut it off. Bisping was like, okay, and then they pray in the octagon together.
When he was like gonna start praying, he's like, Bisping was like,
they're in his ear,
like this might be blasphemy if we put this on TV. Like God might smite us if we allow this stuff to happen. Either that or like, I don't know, Bryce Smith was just out levitating or something. Let's matchmake for a second. So, Ige, the problem with Ige is it kind of always, this is who he is. He's this top 15-ish guy. He doesn't beat the top guys. He loses. If you beat Dan Ige, you're a top guy. If you don't, you're not. So who do you match him with?
It's tough for Ige because number one, he's fought like everybody. Like he's literally just kind of fought everybody, and he's I don't want to call someone like him a stepping stone because he is good. But even tonight, like he's never been the biggest 145er, but physically, like, did he not look as like bulky or like cut up to you? Like he looks like a dude that can make 135 to me. And I don't like people ever moving down in weight class, but
especially at this point of their career, it's a little tough. He's not it's not Frankie Edgar finally going down to 135.
Sure. Or Barbosa. I like him fighting someone like Alex Caceres, maybe, both be coming off losses. I think that kind of makes the most sense for him.
So I'm going to go with a guy that I think deserves a name, deserves like a spotlight, a co-main event type thing, a fight night co-main event. I'm going to go with Lerone Murphy.
Yeah,
he's 13-0. He's 13-0 and 1. He's 5-1 in the UFC. He's so inactive that we forget. How old do you think Lerone Murphy is?
29.
Yeah, you think that. And I bet you guessed a little higher than you would have just off the top of your head. But you knew by me saying that he's probably a little older than you think. Dude's 32.
Oh shit.
He's so inactive. It's like it's kind of now or never.
Well, and he was supposed to fight. Why is his name escaping me right now? Fellow UK guy moved up from 135 to 45, cut his knee real bad in training. Who was Lerone Murphy supposed to fight? Oh god,
Cut his
someone put it in the chat.
Arnold Allen?
No, he's a guy that moved up from 135 to 45.
Nathaniel Wood.
Yes. He was supposed to fight. I even like Nathaniel Wood maybe to get a shot too, to maybe enter the rankings.
I think
against
Wood,
Ige.
is he? I think he's booked. I think he's booked against somebody.
Is he?
Yeah, but yeah, that's who I'm going with. Let's move over to Mitchell. Obviously, Mitchell has to keep climbing the ranks, get a tougher guy. I was looking at the guys, and I thought about no. So the guy I came up with is most far Evelev.
Sure.
You know, if they're scrapped, that would be a lot of fun. Stylistically, a lot of fun. It makes sense in the ranking sense. I was trying to find someone that would be outlandish with him, but really at that division, there isn't anybody.
No,
there isn't a Tony Ferguson. There isn't somebody who has a big personality.
Topuria, but Topuria already crushed him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that middle, the guy that's there. There's nobody in that division. I mean, like Max Holloway would be. Could you imagine what he'd be saying after Max Holloway, torch them up with his hands?
For Mitchell, I was looking at the rankings, and I think he's gonna fight in a main event on a fight night in his next fight. It's that after he's probably trending everywhere on social media right now, especially after the way the Fiziev and Gamrot fight ended. This kind of became the main event in a lot of people's eyes. I would like him to fight someone like Calvin Kattar in a main event. Really, Calvin Kattar is a super solid dude, has good boxing. And that's one guy he hasn't fought yet. And I think the UFC wants to continue to march Bryce Mitchell up the rankings. I think they like stuff like this. Everyone here seems to like Bryce Mitchell's antics, whether you agree with them or not. Most people think that they're funny. So I like him fighting someone like Calvin Kattar in a fight night main event somewhere.
Jusex just pointed out that Mitchell and Evlet, they were supposed to fight each other. Remember Mitchell dropped out like the week of the fight. Because I remember me and Ben, I want to say we actually broke that fight down.
And who did Evloev fight instead? I think he fought someone on short notice.
Diego Lopez, right?
Yes.
And Lopez actually had a good show. Diego Lopez is good. Diego Lopez
is really good.
Yeah, he's a guy I like. He's definitely a guy I like. All right, let's move on. The second worst beatdown of the evening after what I did to Dev is Michelle Waterson took on Marina Rodriguez, the rematch that nobody wanted. And Michelle Waterson Gomez didn't realize that the beatdown at 115 was going to be worse than the beatdown at 125. I mean, dude, Kerry Hatley, like, what the fuck, dude?
He had a bunch of blunders tonight.
Yeah,
the whole entire she was coughing up blood in the corner. I mean, her husband's in her corner, if that was my fiance coughing up blood and shit in the corner after a clear 10-8 round, like, we're going home. You're on a 3-fight losing streak. Like, this isn't going to be your night.
Yeah, it was. So I'll say this about Michelle Waterson. She did everything she could do. Like, she came out, she wrestled right away. The problem is we haven't had the proof recently about Marina Rodriguez because she had up to this fight, she was on a little bit of a skid. Her takedown defense is not good.
It's bad.
But her scramble to get back to her feet, she's a big woman and she's learned how to get back up. So being able to take her down over and over again is really hard. And when she got up and she got to that plum clinch, it felt like Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin.
That's what I put in the Sherdog Slack. This was reminding me of Silva Franklin. And you know what I think I realized about Marina Rodriguez? I think she lets anyone get an entry on her. Like, if you want to get double underhooks on Marina Rodriguez, or you want to get to a single leg, or you want to close the distance, she does not stop it. She doesn't have sprawling instincts, but her deadliness in the clinch, I think she may just almost welcome it. I really do think, like, if you want to get double underhooks, her clinch is so strong. She's just going to fight it back, get you against the cage, turn you around, crush you. I mean, did you see Waterson's face after like the first 3 knees to the body? She looked like she saw a ghost.
Yeah.
Like it,
I,
it was.
so Dirty Rag 22 puts a point up there. I actually know what he's referring to about, people can wrestle because they defensive wrestle. If it's not offense, I don't want to hear. I understand what you're saying. Like, I actually agree with that a little bit.
Me too.
So, it's much easier to learn takedown defense and wrestle defensively than it is to if I wrestled the guy obviously way better than me, someone like Kyle Snyder. Obviously he would crush me, even if I went defensive wrestling. But if I wrestled the guy who was like one level above me and all I did was defensive wrestling and say, hey, try to take me down, he would struggle to take me down. It's when I start opening up my own offense, I set up his reshots and his, what I mean? Like when you're just going defensive, it's much harder. So I think that's what he's trying to say. And if that's what he's trying to say, I agree. I totally agree with you. So
it's definitely tougher to continuously chain wrestle than just fight for underhooks and sprawl out over and over again.
Install and everything. So back to this, we get off track. Back to Waterson. You were talking about just her getting beat up, and it got to one point where Rodriguez was battering her so bad to the stomach, she started like covering her own body and leaving her face wide open, like saying, like, I'd rather get punched in the face. You ever watch little kids doing karate at like the lowest age and they're not allowed to punch to the head?
Yeah.
You ever see that? And all they do is block the stomach and they kind of curl up and like you, because that could hit anywhere else but your stomach. That's what they actually looked like with Michelle Waterson, where she was just like, yeah, like I'd rather get punched in the face. There was one point where she got punched so clean and she buckled. I couldn't believe Carrie Hatley didn't jump in at that point. And you know what? Like, look her corner too. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's your spouse.
This is your. I couldn't imagine one. And I know it's not fair. It's watching someone get punched. It's different when you're an MMA fighter and that's making a living. And yeah. But you got to know that she's not a title contender anymore. She had to know that coming in. She wasn't going to win a title, or she wasn't like, yeah, I understand you lose half your pay, but I couldn't imagine my wife getting killed. And Craig Jackson too. And these guys, like, she's at this point in the career, like, it's not worth taking the damage. We don't get that. Remember, who was it? Was it Nate Marquardt? Who was Nate? Was it Trevor Whitman? I think it was Trevor Whitman. Where Trevor Whitman, Nate Marquardt wanted to fight, and he's like, nope, you're done. Like at this point in your career, I don't want to see you hit anymore.
She's on a 3-fight losing streak, rematching someone that already beat her down a weight class, even though they're both 115ers. Their first fight was at 125. So you have to look at everything: the age, the place you are in the career, the title aspirations. Is the monetary value worth the accrued damage? Like, you may have to go in. I mean, she may need like some sort of cosmetic surgery to repair her nose. Did you see like I've been in places before where I've hit somebody and watched the coagulated stuff come out of their nose. Like, it was coagulated blood. Like, it was real. Like, did you hear her in the corner? Like she was choking on her own blood in the corner, dude, between the first and second round.
How about when it was bad? How about when the fight ended and she just like curled over,
crumbled,
like, and just was crying? And I know that was not just like I'm in pain crying. It was probably more of an emotional thing.
I'm done. She knew her career was
a little
over.
Bit. Yeah, like she's got to at least know that her top level is done. Like she's still, very charismatic person. She has a following because I mean she's gorgeous. Her nickname's a karate hottie. Like, people know her. Like she just at this point is just to get over it. If you want anything to do with her, as Juice X asked, like, why did they book her against Rodriguez? Why do you have a rematch? Like, pretty quick turnaround. It was to get Rodriguez a win against a name, because they still believe in Rodriguez. And I
still think Rodriguez is flawed, man. Like, I don't think her boxing game is great. I don't think she knows how to throw a straight punch. I think she stands super square and throws weird punches. Like, I still think, even though she just went and shit kicked Michelle Waterson, like, I'm not even that much higher on her.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll tell you why I agree. Well, I think her overall skills are better, but I agree because it's hard to gauge. Like this one, and I'm not trying to. I mean, we should address Bellator. I didn't watch the Bellator yet. I didn't watch the main event. I was trying to do it. I know I saw the highlights, but I try to stay away, but I know I'm not gonna. Like I'm gonna look over. Like those days, like if I can't watch the fights on Saturday, I always try to like turn off my phone and not watch. But then like I'm just gonna find out. I'm gonna find out, and I just watch it. So I saw it. I saw the main event. It's when people say like, "Oh, Johnny Elman's the best middleweight in the world." Yeah, he might be. He really will. I'm not arguing that he isn't, but it's always tough to gauge because who's he beating? And does he pass the eyeball test? Absolutely he does. But it's that. Then you're not going to get this reference either, but that college football player playing in the really weak conference, or the Division II guy putting up crazy passing yards and everything. And I know I'm not saying Edwards is a Division II. He is a Division I, but you know my point. It's that guy throwing touchdown passes, but he's playing against Boston College. He's not playing against Alabama.
Yeah. It's like when the kid lies about his age playing like little league or like peewee football, is that, you sure that kid's 15? Like, you sure he's 13? Like, no, so you just don't know. It's hard to really gauge where Rodriguez is at, beating up Michelle Waterson in 2023 on a 3-fight losing streak.
Yeah, that was my point. Yeah, that was my point for this fight. Tough. Like it's hard to gauge. This was a terrible style, and it was just a terrible stylistic matchup. Waterson had to turn into a wrestling match for 15 minutes, and wrestling someone who's improved their wrestling. Again, I understand what the guy was saying earlier. So, improved her get-up game. She's much bigger than you. It was a tough hill to climb, especially at her age.
Her nickname is literally the Karate Hottie, and she has to resort to wrestling to win a fight. That should
and that's been the way for a long time. I think she can strike with some, just not Marina, not the upper level. A lot of people talked in the chat saying maybe it's time for her to retire. I thought she was retired before the matchup was booked, but I would rather see Michelle Waterson retire than continue to fight, but I don't think if she continues, what are you gonna do with her? So you're running the UFC. The UFC, Michelle Waterson calls you up, says, "Dev, I want to fight again." What are you doing?
I think this was already bad matchmaking. Like, Lupe Godinez just fought Elise Reed, and I would have just rather seen like Lupe fight Waterson, because you use, and this is something you like to do, where you kind of use someone that's unranked to build a name. And I would match her up with Lupe Godinez. If Michelle Waterson intends to fight again in the UFC, you squeeze as much water out of the sponge as you can.
It's the old boxing thing where the old star gets over the new riser, or the old WF wrestling thing where the big name gets over the next future star. Mm-hmm. That's the exact name I had. I had Lupe Godinez.
Oh, really?
This is the exact name. So nice job on that. So you finally did something right tonight. Okay. I didn't mention. I believe we didn't mention. We have to do an update on the fantasy. I think you're in last place, my man.
Am I?
Do you have any fighters fight yet?
Kevin Holland.
Yes, you were in last place. I'll tell you why. Because I've had one fighter fight too, and my fighter got a draw. So that was Valentina Shevchenko. So Mike Bell screwed me out of a lot of points. So you're in the negative.
Well, Izzy lost a main event against Strickland.
Yes, but Volkov won and got a stoppage. So I think he's at second. I think I'm in third. And Ben is crushing everybody right now because he got all those points from Strickland. He's got the main event. He's got the title. He's got UFC main card, UFC main event, UFC winning the title, and then beating another person's fighter. Like we're only in the first month, but Ben is way ahead right now.
We all shit on him too. We all shit on his play.
Yeah. I mean, it probably isn't the gap of what Bryce Mitchell did to Dane Ige, but it's pretty far. It's pretty far. All right, let's Rodriguez. So she's called, and I'm going to save her call out till later, but she's fought everybody in the top. What would you do with her?
She's got a lot of similarities to Dan Ige, kind of one of those just like run of the mill. I think she should fight Rose Namajunas.
Ooh, like Rose going back down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm doing the same thing with Rodriguez. I'm using her name to see if I challenge somebody else. Now I still think she can be a top one, but Tabitha Ricci I think deserves a big shot.
That's great.
And
or Jillian Robertson.
The size difference would look a lot like what we saw tonight, because Ricci's a smaller one. I mean, she's a little stockier than Michelle Wood, but she's still like a shorter. That's what I would do. All right, let's move on. Guys, we're gonna probably breeze through. I mean, we're already an hour in, and that's because Dev wouldn't shut up during the debate. He would. I mean, Dev even really let me talk. I didn't even get to get my full argument out, but. Let's be honest.
I used your tactics against you. Your interrogation tactics. I held up a mirror.
All right. So we're gonna breeze through a lot of these prelims. One, they weren't the best. Two, like divisional relevance is not much going on. I mean, Charles Jourdain, Brian Battle. There's a couple guys you can get excited about, but generally speaking, not too much. Brian Battle took on AJ Fletcher, winning by second round submission. What I'll say about this, and I'll let you jump in one sec. I was impressed by Brian Battle. Like, not the best, not the biggest win, not the best name, but just it was very systematic, controlled, intelligent performance, led with the teep kicks. I've always said he's at an underrated ground game. Got the fight to the ground, controlled. I do agree with Dominic Cruz was saying about Fletcher, like, showed no urgency. It was like next minute he knew, he was like, oh shoot, I'm getting choked. Gassed. Yeah, I'm sure he was trying to rest out the rest of the round. But you can't do that at this level. And he made a mistake, and Battle looked good. Battle's size is going to be a problem to a lot of guys. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win a title, but just this size alone is going to be a struggle for a lot of people. So I like Battle moving forward.
I think I've kind of been. I picked this fight on my show. I picked Brian Battle to win, and my analysis was, I just don't see what Fletcher is going to be able to do. Like, Andre Petrosky is just like a giant version of AJ Fletcher, and he beat Petrosky, and he kind of beat Fletcher the same exact way, just cleaner on the feet. Battle striking is coming along a lot. I like someone, he's super composed for a dude this young in their career. Like, the commentary was acting like Fletcher was landing these big shots on the feet. He landed one elbow in the fight. Besides the one elbow he landed, if you remove that elbow from this fight, Brian Battle kind of pitched a shutout. Like, his teep kicks were beautiful. Anytime AJ would rush the pocket, he'd pop him with the jab or, sneak across behind it. Battle's a dude that will hang around in a fight, and then if you make a mistake, he will submit you. But now his striking is coming along where he's causing people to make mistakes and do desperate shit. Brian Battle could be a problem. Like, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've already seen him overachieve, beating guys like Andre Petrosky on the Fighter and stuff. Yeah, I agree. Before that, Charles Jourdain took on Hikato Homos, winning by first round sub. I was blown away by the performance of Charles Jourdain. Mm-hmm. Tough, I was 50-50 on this fight. Both very similar styles, very explosive guys, good strikers, good grapplers. Jourdain kept going, taking his chance, going for the head attack. But, man, it was one of the slickest. It's not one of these ones you got to get in the highlight reels forever, like not one of these, Dustin Hazlett jumping over, on a Kimura or Demetrius Johnson's mousetrap, none of those, or whatever he called it. What he called that, the submission he hit. It was just so, like, to get scrambles and the chain wrestle and the chain submissions together and keep going for it, and then finally catch him. When he got it, it was over. It was a wrap. I was super impressed by Charles Jourdain. What a good win, in my opinion.
You have to be really confident to do something like that and to continue to chase it. Yeah, the guillotine was just beautiful. And when he sunk it in, like, he was super confident in it, and Homos tapped like real quick. Yeah,
I mean, so I was a guy at my work, he's really high, and he was showing me a submission, and people don't understand when you get a guillotine or something, like he does like the the high elbow guillotine, and he was showing me this, but he puts it on you, man. Like people think, haven't really grappled. They think of it like holding your breath underwater, and that's not how it is. It is it goes from level 1 to level 100 in a panic in a second. You can have someone submit you with that on, knowing it's your friend and there's a whole bunch of people on, then I can let you choke you to death. And again, I understand this is he's putting it on me. I'm sitting in the perfect position. I'm not fighting him. It's different, but when it's on, forget it. It's incredible. So I'm really impressed with it.
The thing about a guillotine too is it can be a wind choke, it can be a blood choke, it can be both. And when something like that happens to you, like you panic real quick.
Yeah, like a blood choke is terrible. Wind choke sucks, but a blood choke is terrible. You got to pass out in seconds, and you're cutting off the blood going to your brain. Your brain's like in full panic mode.
I'm dying. Like. Yeah.
So, before Jeff Pelton, Jeff Pelton, keep it up, brother. You're the running for a listener. You're killing me. He said how I explained how slowly I let the guy put the joke on me. He's like, you're explaining. Nice job. You explained how AJ Fletcher tapped. Good job. That was funny.
That is actually really funny.
That was really good. So that was the main card. Let's go to the prelims. So I think Miles Johns every fight. The one time I had a very good picks on my main card. I went undefeated on the main card. I did terrible on the prelims. So Miles Johns beat Dan Argueta. The one time I don't pick Miles Johns to win, he wins. This was a fun fight. I'll say this about Johns had more dog in him than I thought he did. That was one thing I was questioning about him. And there was a moment in the second round, he was taken down early in the second round, and he did like a big, and I said, oh, he's done. And now Argueta's going to win the rest. But then he didn't. He did this one, like his breath wasn't like a front. It was like, okay, I got to really work. And he got back to his feet. And that's that. I don't think he got taken down. Argueta's going to be a tough matchup for so many guys because he just works. He's not just a guy who's like on the pressure. He just works. Even if you take him down, he's working. He's nonstop. He's like the energized bunny. He just keeps moving and going. And but if Miles Johns could do one thing, if he could shorten up his strikes, tighten everything up, stop throwing this big, huge home run hit, and just throw a couple shots in seconds. There was one point. It was in the end of the second round. He switched. He was standing there. He switched step and he threw a straight left as soon as he did. And it buckled Dan Argueta. And I'm like, dude, look what happened. The one straight punch he threw the entire fight. He rocked him. He's got the natural power. He's a good wrestler, though I do think he's abandoned his offensive wrestling.
His legs. Do you see his legs? Like if somebody really emphasized on him throwing straight punches, and this is just an MMA thing in general. I watched a video the other day where it was a couple heavyweights. They had like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou, and John Jones. There was like different clips of all of them punching one of those punching machines. And three of the dudes really threw a big overhand and they looked super impactful. One dude, which is the worst, maybe not the worst striker, but John Jones throws a straight right, perfectly thrown. It was the fastest punch out of all of them. And it looked like it would have probably been the one to be the sneakiest and the most damaging. And I just think it's an MMA fighter thing where like just a lot of dudes and women in general, men in general, like both genders in the UFC, like we don't see a lot of people that throw straight punches. And Argueta, he was getting hit with so many check hooks where if he were to just, do a backward L step and just throw a straight down the pike, like he would have killed Argueta.
Yeah, especially because Argueta has terrible defense just in general. Yeah, I agree.
Runs into the pocket and closes the distance over and over.
Yeah. So one thing that me and Ben do a lot when we do our preview show, obviously we tape them in segments. There's a lot of breaks in between, and we talk and chat. As soon as I picked Andre Fili to beat Tim Means, I said to him, did I pick that wrong? And why did I pick against Tim Means? Tim Means is going to win. Tim Means is the dog. Tim Means won by third round TKO. and Ajay Fiallo, he's not a dog. And he started mentally breaking, and it happened about the second round. Slowly about the second round, I just said, well, he's done. He started to gas. He couldn't avoid the jab. I mean, he was getting knee in the gut. He was getting high kicked, and he just kept slowing down and just fading away. And Tamines showed that he still has some life left in him.
I tweeted Tim fucking Means. Just like his ability to be at this stage of the game with his age, his deteriorating reflexes, but his willingness to just stay in the pocket, roll shots, use his vision, and fire straight punches back against a dude that's, I mean, Fiallo is a dude that can be mentally broken, but he can also freaking crack. And he was getting hit with hard shots, and Tim Means just hung tough. Tim Means could have won this fight at range. Like, his
yeah, but he didn't fight that way. Timmy's never fights that way.
No, he could have won this fight at range because he had, I mean, Tim Means actually had success everywhere in this fight, but when he was hurt and didn't go down, you could see Fiallo be like, what is it going to take to kill this dude? And
yeah,
the step knee from Tim Means in the first round.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Like,
that was incredible.
Tim Means is dope.
Yeah. I want to back up for a second. I want to address something that's still on our screen. Nicholas talked about what Miles John said after, and I apologize for not addressing. I should have said this. I apologize.
Sure.
In his post-fight speech, he gave a shout out to his step. What do you say? Stepbrother. Right? No, sorry, not stepbrother. I think it was brother-in-law, his wife's brother-in-law, and he talked about mental health, and he said to people to call out and get help. It was a fantastic speech. Took his moment and shared for a much bigger cause. Nicholas, yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming he's him or he or she. I apologize. It looks like it's kind of hard. The profile picture is really small. It looks like it's a female, but it's really hard to tell. So it could be a guy with long hair. I apologize. Either way, if I'm wrong. If it's true what you said, he said John's post-fight speech about mental health is important. To be honest, before the fight started, I called for help. We were breaking curse by getting help. Yeah, get help, guys. If you are suffering in any way with any kind of depression, mental health, I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but the worst possible thing, and the way Miles Johns was talking about it was, sounded like he was talking about just someone taking their own life. I don't know about you, Dad. I'm sure you've gone through things in your life. I've gone through things in my life. Anytime I've ever had an issue in my life where I feel like, oh man, this sucks. Something wrong. My car broke down when I didn't have the money to get it fixed, or whatever the situation was. Every time in my life, I've been able to get through that. And even when you feel like you're low, the sun's going to come up the next day. You're going to make it. The worst thing you could possibly do is do a suicide because you're making a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And it's never the right solution. And it affects so many people. So if anybody on there, anybody here watching, I'm not some motivational speaker or anything like that. Your life matters. As Miles John said, get help, reach out to people. And that said, I'm going to do something I've never done before. So Nicholas posted this about mental health, how important it is, and calling for help. If that person's being honest, and I'm assuming they are, I'm going to leave that post up for the rest of the show. We're not going to put any more. We're going to keep that one up. That's how important it is. So let's keep that. We're not going to bring any more up there. Just so you can remind people that this, I love MMA as much as you do, Dev, and everybody else in the chat. Obviously, we are as hardcore as they come. Life is more important than MMA. So let's keep that up there.
Yeah. I'm a nobody. You can call me.
And I'm gonna get media. Yeah, I'm gonna put
doesn't matter.
I'm gonna put Dev's phone number in the chat right now.
Get a bunch of prank calls. Bryce Mitchell won that fight. Hang up.
Yeah, it'd probably be Bryce Mitchell calling you.
Jesus Christ.
Before that, we're gonna get some controversy now. Before that, Jacob Malkoun took on Cody Brundage. Jacob Malkoun lost by disqualification with a elbow to the back of the head of Cody Brundage. Brundage was not able to compete. I'm going to say something, and I know people are going to mad at me, and should Jacob Malkoun been disqualified? Yeah. It was an illegal elbow to the back of the head. There's a reason why that's a rule. It does affect people way more than people think. Nobody knows how hurt Cody Brundage was other than himself. That said, like, don't be a dick. Don't go on. And I've saw so many people calling him. I saw someone who's like I respect, like a medium, called him spineless, and this and like this guy fights people for a living. Like
you're tweeting about it, and he's in the cage fighting
like
people.
He's not a whip.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did he play a game? I don't know. I don't like accusing guys of this. I didn't do it with Aljamain Sterling. I didn't do it. I'm not doing it with Cody. Nobody knows except for that person. That said, it still sucks. Like, we still say this sucks. This is one of the things I hate about MMA. These type of situations.
And like, how many warnings did Malkoun get? Do you recall? Like, were there multiple warnings before that, or was it just one back of the head shot? Because do you see room for this to be a no contest? Would you call this blatant? Like, was this blatant? Because absolutely. A DQ means that it's blatant.
Well, that's so that's such
purposeful.
It's such a tough thing because every punch you throw is you throwing with a purpose. Like, you have purpose to do damage. 30C West said he was 1-3 times. I didn't hear the warnings, but I believe you. Like, I believe
sure.
You. But when you're watching the fight, I'm not like necessarily going like I'm doing so. I'm updating the thing on the bottom. So I might not have been following it close enough, so I didn't hear it. But I believe you if you said he was warned. If he was 1-3 times, then absolutely he should have been disqualified. Could have been a no contest. Yeah, it could have been a no contest. What sucks is it seemed like Malkoun was winning. He was on his way to a victory. He was getting hit in the back of the head. Sorry, my work is calling me right now, but I'm not answering. Sorry, I'll answer when the show's over. Malkoun was crushing him. He was the biggest favorite on this card. He's probably going to win. Again, we're not sure, but it was looking that way. Just sucks. It sucks for everybody involved.
Yeah, Brundage did get taken to the hospital right after that. So I don't know if that was the, Nevada State Athletic Commission's ringside doctor being like, hey, we don't want. Another thing, too, is like anybody that thinks that someone is faking a back of the head strike, go look up someone named Pritchard Colon. He's a professional boxer that. Do you know who I'm talking about? Pritchard Colon. He took a punch to the back of the head and he's basically a vegetable now.
Oh, that's terrible.
So if you think that someone getting a strike to the back of the head and calling them, a pussy, whatever, like, did it look possibly over exaggerated? I'll leave that up to someone else to decide. But Pritchard Colon is a like back of the head shots can literally change someone's life.
Yeah, there's a reason why it's illegal. So. Before that, Jake Collier took on Mohammed Usman. I picked Jake Collier again. He burned me again. I want to talk about the eye poke to the side for 1 second, and then we'll this fight was really close heading into the third round. I had one each.
Yeah.
There was about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes left. It was like third round was going to be a toss up. Usman was like trying to get a single. Collier was in good position. He had an underhook, and he just started resting it. And like he did what AJ Fletcher did, but instead of being down, he did it from the clinch. Like he thought, like, okay, I stopped the takedown, I can just rest here. And Usman, he made a huge mistake. Usman just dropped back down, lowered his level, dropped down, came up with a high crotch, brought it to the ceiling, and threw him on his head. And that's why he won the fight. Because I'm not saying he wouldn't have. I mean, it was a really close round with that, but Collier took a break for a second, and Usman didn't.
Well, Usman did take a break for a second, but it was in the second round after the double. I mean, like this is something like that is also just as impactful as what Malkoun did to Brundage. And was it blatant and purposeful? Probably not. But like, man, it really looked like that eye poke gave Usman time to rest, recharge, and really step on the gas. I think that eye poke and that rest was a lot more beneficial for Usman than it was for Collier.
Yeah, I mean, it changed the fight. I mean, Collier was cruising up into that point. One thing that I want to point out, like, I don't know the impact it had. It looked like it did, but I want to point out that he got cut immediately on the other side, and he seemed bothered by the cut on the other side for the rest of the fight. So I think that had a huge impact. But was he bothered by that because his eye was affected on the other side? And who knows?
Well, another thing too is, like, I'm sorry I cut you off, but Collier's jab was like firing like crazy. He gets eye poked, and then all of a sudden he's just eating a million jabs.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be an adjustment by Usman too, but I'll say this. I think it was you who tweeted this out. How bad does it look when you're the Las Vegas Athletic Commission? You are the commission in MMA. Like, you're the leader. Like, eventually, I mean, there's commissions all across, but you're the one who has the most main, big UFC shows. You're the standard. Yeah. And Michael Bisping has to tell you the rules about when to bring doctors in, how long they have, what are they supposed to do? Don't call it now. Like, what the fuck? What? This doesn't happen. Imagine if you watch in the NFL and I don't know who calls game. Tony Romo pops up and starts screaming out to the referees what to do in a situation. Could you imagine that?
No, that's what I tweeted. That I go, the commentary telling the Nevada State Athletic Commission how to do their job is ridiculous. Like, that is. Yeah.
So it was you. I apologize. Yeah. I wasn't sure who it was. Yeah.
Like, why is the comment? Literally, Dominic Cruz and Michael Bisping are telling them how to, and they can hear them.
Oh yeah, because they're in the apex.
They're in the apex.
At one point, you can hear Michael Bisping take off his headset and start screaming to him, not thinking it's going to get caught up. They probably say, "Hey, don't do it from the mic," but you can hear him as someone in the background screaming. And yes, I understand it's a new rule, but when there's, as West Coast pointed out, yeah, there's new rules, but like
they made NFL, the rule.
When they add a new rule, the freaking people know it. In the NFL's rule book is like 10 times bigger than MMA's rule book. And again, I understand it's little apple oranges. You have one referee compared to, like, I don't know how NFL referees are 15 whatever on the field. And I know MMA has, now they're adding other guys outside that can consult. I know it's a little different, but I know it's not fair comparison, but still.
Yeah, if you're the ones that enforce the rules, you have to know them.
Yeah, I think Usman's now 3-0 in the UFC. I still don't feel good about him. He looked better. I'll say that. He looked better. I still don't feel good about him.
He is the stiffest fighter that, like, he's like the stiffest male fighter I might have ever seen, where, like, Collier is landing punches on him. And he is a dude where, like, Fiziev can bend at the waist and matrix. Like, it literally looks like Usman doesn't have joints in his body. Yeah. Like, he just gets hit and his whole body moves. It's the weirdest thing.
Fiziev can, like, back bend that way. I don't think Usman can bend forward the same distance that Fiziev can bend back.
He has to sit down on the ground to probably tie his shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does he wipe?
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. Before that, Mizuki Inoue took on Hannah Goldie. Mizuki Inoue winning by unanimous decision. I started falling asleep. I don't know why. I can watch fights at 1 o'clock in the morning and be wide awake. This is how I watch fights. I sit on my bed. I used to watch it on the big screen TV downstairs. My kids have taken that over. So I watch on my computer screen, sitting on my lap, sit in my bed. I always have my back against the headrest, and I just watch on my computer, and I'm taking notes. So I have two computers out. One that I'm watching, the other one I'm using to put the ticker in and set up the YouTube and everything. And I'm head nodded, but this fight has just put me to sleep. And I'd fall asleep for a second. You briefly fall asleep for like a second, and I wake up. They're still back in the clinch. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, and it could have been, and that could have been. You could have fallen asleep in the first round and woke up in the third, and like it looked exactly the same. Yeah. I asked Jay Petrie this because I know he's the stats guy, and I was like, "Has Hannah Goldie ever been not like? Has she always been an underdog in every fight?" only time she was ever a favorite was against Miranda Granger.
That she was married to Alex Nicholson. She's an underdog in life.
She's got Cody Stamen's body.
Oh. Mizuki, in a way, she would be a good fighter. She's a very good grappler.
Sure.
She just can't wrestle. Like, do yourself a favor. Like, go pull up a Bo Nickel instructional video. Learn how to wrestle. Like, come on.
Well, it was really weird because you have even she could have just kind of won this fight, probably pot shotting at range or just like sticking Goldie behind a jab because Goldie seemed pretty strong. It was just one of those. It was a negative fight. Like, and Mizuki's at a great camp. Kind of surprised to see a game plan like this, come out of that camp that she comes from.
Yeah, let's move on. Before that, Tamir Vidal took on Montserrat Rondon winning a split decision. This fight was so aggravating. First of all, neither fighter threw combos. I just feel like the fighter who threw combos would win this fight. And Vidal lost for one simple reason. She refused to set up her calf kick. Calf kicks was landing, but she just kept throwing the same like kicks. And Rondon finally just started like timing them coming in, just catching her and taking her down. And then once she got to the ground, she couldn't get up. Both of these fighters aren't good. Both of them aren't good.
Chris Lieben scored this fight a 30-27 for Vidal on his very first scorecard, like scoring for the UFC. And
well, that's his first scoring for the UFC in Vegas.
In Vegas?
Yeah, okay. He scored, I don't know, maybe California, I think. I'm not sure where he I think California, but he just got commissioned with Las Vegas.
And then he gives the Vidal 30-27 scorecard on his first.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what he didn't do? He wasn't bad enough to score the fight for Ige. So you got to give him that.
Vidal got she got that $50,000 win bonus and like went all in, but instead of like training MMA, she just got MMA tattoos. So she got like tractor tattooed right under her bra line and a face tattoo.
Yeah, I saw that. So do we have the UFC awards? Do anybody have them for the night?
Let's see.
I do not.
I got them.
Okay, you have them. All right. So the way we do it, we don't go by the UFC awards. We go with what we give the UFC awards. Throw in the chat what you guys would do. Do we have? I'm assuming we have a fight of the night and two performance bonuses.
Yeah, and I like them both.
Okay. So you agree with it? What would you have picked them yourselves or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So totally. Before you tell you yours, I'll tell you what mine would have been, and then we can compare. Fight of the night. It's tough. At the Miles Johns and Dan Arquette was one that kind of stood out to me. Tim Means and Andre Fiallo stood out to me, but I'm going to go with the co-main event. I'm going to go with Mitchell and Danny Gay. That what I would have went with fight of the night. As far as performances, Marina Rodriguez for sure, and I'm going to go Charles Jourdain. That's what I'd go Jourdain, Rodriguez, and then I'd go Ige and Mitchell for my fights. What would you go with?
I kind of agree with what the UFC did. They gave fight of the night to Means and Fiallo.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with that. And I didn't go that way, but I'm okay with that.
Performance of the night: Marina Rodriguez and Charles Jourdain.
Okay, good. Nice job, UFC.
They did it right.
So that's what you would have give those three.
Yep.
Okay. I just read some of the people in the chats. Kyle Lahi, Flamingo and Fiallo fight of the night. Jeff Pelton, Means Rodriguez performance of the night. So he goes to Means for performance, not Charles Jourdain.
Sure.
Davis Oswald agrees on Marina. I think everyone's going with Marina. One fellow don't want to cut Jacob Alcoon. he really upset about that elbow. Kyle Lahi, Rodriguez, Jourdain performances. Pelton give Fiala 50K on his way out the door. That's perfect transition to the cut list. The cut list is where both me and Dev, if we have the same person saying the UFC should let him go to open up space for other people, especially considering we're still in the Dana White Contender Series side with a lot of contracts. You got to make a lot of room for people. I have 3 on my list. How many do you have?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ooh. So I'm being nicer one than you. So you got to throw yours out and I'll tell you which one I have on my list.
All right. I would like, can we just cut women's bantamweight from the UFC? It's not going to be here in 3 years. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, they're just like with. And the UFC to put that fight on and then the Hannah Goldie Mizuki Inoue fight, like that's not like it's the prelims, but come on, guys, like yeah. In all seriousness, I'd probably cut under Fiallo. A lot of bad losses. Brundage, even though Brundage won this fight, you can't cut someone off of win. Yeah, this isn't a win. Like, yeah, he's gone, and Jake Collier's probably got to go too.
All right, so we agreed on 3 out of 4. Yeah, Hannah Goldie I'd cut. She's 1-4 in the UFC. Jake Collier, he's lost 4 fights in a row. I would cut him. I would cut Andre Fila 4 losses in a row. I can't on principle cut Brundage. He won the fight, so I saved. No.
Watterson too, man. I wouldn't be mad if Watterson went.
To me, the problem, she's lost 4 in a row, so you can still use her to get somebody else over, so I wouldn't. Juicex says Waterson Gomez cut. No mercy there. Fletcher's on a 1-fight losing streak, wants to get rid of him. Dan Arquette, same thing. Wow, man. Juicex cut everybody. Fiallo, Collier, Goldie, 30 C West, Bastion, Brundage. A lot of people agree with you. Wow. Brundage, it was just, wasn't that Brundage's last fight on his contract? He can exit the UFC on a win. So,
jeez,
he could go. You could say, he should retire. He should retire in this and go, I went on top with a UFC win. All right, let's go to the Bulls and the Bears. The Bulls and Bears are a stock market reference. You want to, when things are going good, it's a bull market, a bull stock. Things are going bad, it's a bear market, a bear stock. You want to be on the Bulls list. You don't want to be on the Bears list. We do it hockey style, like the Stars of the Night, 3, 2, 1. Deb, do you want to do Bulls or Bears first? You want to be positive? You want to be negative? Let's
be positive.
All right. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to throw Trey Ogden. Trey Ogden coached Miles Johns. I don't know if you caught that. He's a head coach at Marathon MMA. I'm not sure because I know Miles Johns was with Fortis MMA, but Saif Sayyid wasn't there. So I'm thinking being Kansas City, that's where Miles Johns originally is from, that area. I think he jumped over to Marathon. I think he's from Kansas City. I could be wrong with that. I think he jumped over to Marathon. Anyways, Trey Ogden was very vocal. You could hear him the whole time. I thought he was giving great advice. That's a team that's kind of seems like a team that's on the rise. I like what's going on over there at Marathon MMA and Trey Ogden. So nice job, Trey Ogden. I think his stock is going up. My number 2, I'm going to go Brian Battle. He's now 5-1 in the UFC, 7-1 if you count the Ultimate Fighter show. Continues to rise. And my number 1, again, not the biggest risers because, where the main event, co-main event, everything went. I'm going to go with Charles Jourdain. I thought he had a really credible win against a tough opponent. I think he can build off that. So Charles Jourdain is my big winner today. Do you have some bulls there, Dev?
Yeah, and I agree with all yours. I'm gonna go my number 1 bull, or my third bull. Tim Means gets the 50K. Good for him. Fight of the night, wins by finish, and I don't know how much longer he can do this, but shout out that he is doing this at his age. Did you say Marina Rodriguez? If not, she deserves to be there. With a performance like that, I mean, Sherdog does beatdown of the year, and this probably just slid into first place for beatdown of the year. Wins 50 grand and probably maybe gives Michelle Waterson her walking papers. And then, even though I don't agree with you on this fight at all, my number 1 is going to go to Bryce Mitchell. The fight was okay, but all of the antics post fight, this whole week, him screaming at Bisping, just
having the Bible.
This dude is like really, like he is building himself into just these characters, just another one of these like Sean Strickland, Colby Covington, wackadoodle. Like,
did you see that? Did you see that Bible he had? I was like, man, he looked like he's just stole it out of like the drawer
the
of the hotel. Like, come on, dude. Like, get yourself like a nice, like hard covered, like study Bible or something. Come on, man. That was terrible.
Yeah. He went to a church and just stole it from the, the pew and just
let's go to the Bears. You don't want to be on the Bears list. Again, we're doing hockey style 3-2-1. I'm gonna go with Jacob Malkoun. He dude's good. He had a nice little streak going in the UFC. He's got some good wins. He has some fights that people thought he should have won. Regardless of how he lost, you can't lose to Cody Brundage in that division. Now you kind of push yourself down a little bit. Ended the winning streak. Not good night for Jacob Malkoun. Number 2, I'm gonna go with Michelle Waterson. I mean, 4 losses in a row now. I mean, sure is all studs, but I mean, she's looking worse and worse each fight. And my last one, Rafael Fiziev. He's on back-to-back losses now. He's got who knows what the injury is, but he could be out for a really, really long time. That's not good. So Rafael Fiziev is my bear for the night.
Yeah, I agree with all of those. Tonight was a night where if you had a bad night, you had a real bad night tonight. Number 3 bear, Andre Fiallo. He's not only losing fights, he's getting finished. And yeah, he got $50K tonight, but that $50K is, going to help him buy his ticket out of the UFC more than likely. Jake Collier, for losing a fight that he could have potentially won, also suffering a pretty big eye poke. My number 1 bear, unfortunately, I'm going to give it to Hannah Goldie. Just is it, man.
I don't think her stock existed to begin with.
Yeah.
All right.
Plummeting.
Do you have any dudes seriously?
The whole card was kind of like, dude, seriously, like Jake Collier, you like lost weight for nothing.
Well, no, it's good for his overall.
Yeah, it's good for his heart.
Like, geez, looking a little better. He's just get down to down his jeans. Come on,
Jesus.
Jeez.
Yeah, now he has to buy all new clothes.
Damn. That guy loses some weight and he's killing him. Oh, man. I just picture him right now just eating ice cream somewhere, just sad that he lost.
Oh gosh, like like I heard someone say, like, before he was cutting steak to make weight.
All right,
Oh,
I got some dude.
There's so many.
Tim Means is my man. That's totally my man. But dude, seriously, he demanded a standing ovation. Did you hear that?
There's no one in there.
He's like, dude, you guys should be all standing up right now, cheering. It's like, damn, dude, seriously, you demanding a standing ovation? I don't know how to word this one, but Bryce Mitchell forcing someone to pray with him, like, dude, seriously, like, Marina Rodriguez, she called out Tatiana Suarez, like, dude, seriously, like, that's the worst stylistic matchup for you, and you called that one out, dude, seriously. And
I tweeted that.
and my last one, Dev, I love you, brother. And
don't do it to me.
But dude, seriously, you actually thought you'd come at the king and win the debate, dude? Seriously?
I've got one more. This actually made me audibly laugh. Vidal's corner telling her to get angry. Like,
oh, I didn't hear that. Just get angry.
Yeah, they told her get angry, and she's like posture, and it's like you're way too bad at fighting to be posturing like this.
I did that once with the kid when I was coaching high school wrestling, and he was a good, not great wrestler, but good. But he was very physically strong, and he was like he'd lose to kids that he wasn't nearly as strong as. And it was a senior year. It was like the state tournament. He was at the round where he's the blood round. Like he could like become a state place finisher, or he's not going to qualify, and he's like losing. He's losing a close match to a kid, and I'm just like, I know it's the last time I'm going to corner this guy, and I'm like, Austin, just get fucking mad. You're so strong, and it's just like just fucking go hard on, like he's on the crossface, like just go hard on the crossface, and then he like won because he just started getting mad. I'm like, yeah, no shit, dude, you're like the strongest kid I know. Anyways.
Really quick,
All right.
30C West, and this is actually something important that we both that I completely forgot about. That tip punch that Vidal, that's not a low blow. That should have been a TKO.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing is it wasn't. It yes, you're right, but at least she won. Like if Rendon lost,
yeah, that'd be bad.
But I'll say this: just why I don't think it should be TKO. If I step back, I'm like, oh damn, like that hurt, and the referee says, okay, time. Like I didn't tell the referee to like stop it. Like you're deciding, and I understand you don't tell the referee to stop when it's a knockout either, but like they see you're hurt and they go, I think there's a penalty. We should stop it. Well, that's on the judge. That's on the referee for knowing the rule. Like I shouldn't be penalized because they think it's a foul. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. It's. I mean, it's like Shevchenko putting her hand on the ground, one hand in a, putting hands on the ground, like she's playing the game. Like Vidal's playing the game. It's not, you got to bend the rules.
I'm sure it hurt getting punched in the titty.
I bet it did.
So if I ask Jake Collier how it feels, I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, wait, I'm going. I might be there soon too. So, what was your grade for the card?
Bryson Mitchell really made this card better than it should have been. I'm gonna give it a B.
I'm gonna go D plus.
D?
D plus. Yeah. The reason why the main event. I can't have the main event end the way it did. I'll go D plus. All right. Most important question: who is your listener of the night?
Oh gosh. Mitchellus definitely needs to get a shout out for his bravery on saying what he said, but Jeff Pelton, like he had me rolling. If you I had stopped and laughed multiple times just kind of reading what Jeff Pelton has said. I don't even know if I've seen him here before, but please come back because you were hilarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Mitchell Lois, or I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. Just to be super honest, like that's super cool, and we need more people, especially men, talk about mental health. It's really important. So there you guys have it. We have a week off, and then we'll be back. I don't know what the card after that is, but no, it's the
Dawson Green,
Grant Dawson one. So we'll be back for that card. Until then, thanks for you guys chatting with you. Thanks for being awesome. Make sure you guys do all that stuff that me and Ben always forget to ask that all the people do, right? Like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Dev, thanks once again for joining in. Check the kick. I apologize. My work has called me twice. I'm not on call, so that means someone probably got murdered, so I gotta really go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.